Go folks, intra-body nano-network, diagram of the nano-network. The important thing is the one that is fixed in the brain and the one that is fixed in the rest of the body. Interesting stuff. Diagram of the intra-body nano-network, the brain nano-network, aims to form a neurological interface to interact with the cognitive, physical and electrical processes of brain activity for neuromodulation, neurostimulation and neurocontrol. Sounds friendly, doesn't it? This requires the introduction of carbon nanotubes that serve as link neurons, shortening the natural distance of axons. This can be achieved with graphene quantum dots and graphene nanosheets, although the literature makes it explicit that single-walled carbon nanotubes or multi-layered carbon nanotubes are the key element. Interesting stuff, folks. Diagram of the body nano network. Electrical activity can be transmitted through the use of carbon nanotubes. Signals triggered by molecular activity of the surrounding brain tissue. The nano routers are responsible for receiving electrical signal, decoding it, configuring it, the data packets and recipients of information. This is very interesting stuff, folks, and it shows what they're doing. Body nano network. Diagram of the body nano network. Now you look through here, nano routers, you see this here? Nano routers being made from graphene neurons and carbon nanotubes, the quantum dots, the nano interface, the fractal graphene nanotides and hydrogel swimmers. Carbon nanotubes and derivatives, graphene quantum dots, hydrogel swimmers. Analysis of the network of body compounds. You see here, this diagram shows how the nanotubes act as electrodes, which the neurons are stimulated. This is really interesting. They can form circuits to propagate the signal into the neurons, the body network. So you've got these signal flow through these carbon nanotubes. Analysis of the body nano-network components. Analysis of the intra-body network components. Nanosensor made of carbon nanotubes and nanosheets. Graphene nanosheets, carbon nanotubes. Graphene quantum dots. Signal nanosensors. You really need to read through this document and look through some of the other stuff that I've talked about. See, the hydrogel swimmers are in fact ribbons of hydrogel and graphene, which can articulate to general movement through the body's circulatory system. They can release drugs, but also propagate the nano network signals to hard to reach areas where nano antennas cannot. They could play some role as biosensors. Carbon nano routers, folks. Nano routers. It's almost certain the nano network operates with multiple nano routers that are distributed throughout the body, fixing themselves in areas with a preference for electrical activity, for example, heart, lungs, arteries. It's quite likely that each nano router has its own MAC address stored in memory circuits, which would explain their dynamic operation. Freaky stuff, folks. Really freaky stuff. Nano router doesn't need a processor. The quantum dot architecture allows it to operate at clock frequency. So you can see how all this ties together. You know, the quantum dot they present to you as being an easy way to have a vaccine and a vaccine passport. It's all about freedom of movement, folks. No, it's the clock that's used for the chip in the nano circuits they're setting up inside your body. It's the chip speed, the quantum dot. There's the gateway, is your cell phone, integrated nano antenna, plasmodic nano antenna, quantum dots, data transmission, outside the body, through the skin barrier, through the phone, the vaccine into the body. Gateway is the phone, the 5G network, cloud-based data computing connected to the Internet of Things, or the Internet of Bodies, as they're now called. All of the information to back up what I'm saying is in all of these documents and is in all of these reports that are coming out. And the question is, do you think they wouldn't do this? Honestly, if they can do it, they will do it, which generally means they already have. Something to think about.